This is an Eye on Annapolis bonus podcast.
Well, I'll tell you, it is nearly October, and you know what that means for Annapolis. It's time for the U.S. Sail and Power Boat Shows. All right, let's be honest. The boat shows can be a bit of a disruptor for Annapolis. There are tens of thousands of visitors to our city, traffic becomes congested for 2 weeks, and patience can wear a little bit thin. But that's truly part of the beauty of living here. And let's not forget that we have events like this all year long. Commissioning Week, the General Assembly's legislative session, Navy football, the Military Bowl, and the boat shows. I personally find it hard to imagine Annapolis without any of them. It just wouldn't be the same. If you loathe the crowds, it's easy enough to avoid them. But if you're a fan of the shows, by all means, come on down. The Powerboat Show gets underway on October 6th and runs through the 9th, and then the Sailboat Show comes into town on the 13th and goes through the 17th. And you can and should get your tickets in advance at AnnapolisBoatShows.com. Now, over the years, we've talked with plenty of vendors and the management of the boat shows and discussed the new vessels, the new classes, how much fun it is, basically how to get yourself into a perfect sail or powerboat. We even touched on the still unsubstantiated claim that the powerboat crowd tends to be better tippers than the sailboat crowd. But this year, we wanted to take it to the people not associated with the boat shows. We know what the boat show means to the organizers and the boat brokers, but what does it mean to tourism in Annapolis, to the city of Annapolis, to local residents, to our area restaurants that we love so much? Come along and listen as we chat with some of our neighbors about the boat show. I parked at God's Court Garage. Hey, pro tip here, never go up. Always go down. There are always spots below ground. But anyhow, I crossed the street to go to Stan and Joe's West Street Saloon to talk to Joe McGovern, and here are some of his thoughts about the boat show.
Well, for us, it's always been a looking forward to. We've, like we said earlier, 15 years in, we've made a lot of friends over the years. So we're not getting only the people looking to buy boats, but we have a lot of friends that are teams. They come in a couple days early. They come down for a beer and a burger. And then us being so close to the hotels, when the boater, I don't know, tourists, whatever you want to call them, customers come, we always have a fun saying that we either get them on their walk down or we get them on their walk back. You know, with us doing live music 7 nights a week, there's music in the window, people pop their head in, and then, you know, if it's a nice fall day and the doors are open, people come right on in and have a beer and a burger. People will be there. They've bought the money, they've set up their tents. We have a full town, period, no matter what. So no matter what the weather is, we are going to have some better business and a little bit more fun. And those boat shows, we have business, period. We stick with our award-winning happy hour, 4 to 6, half-price drinks, Monday through Friday. Shameless plug. But that's what we're known for. We don't want to switch gears or anything. We stick with what we're good at. It's the live local music. It's like you said, the stogies and the burgers and, you know, just local fun. When people say, where should we go? I know a lot of local people say Stan and Joe's, and we're very proud of that. I had a very excellent tutelage from Captain Ashford and the boys down at McGarvey's 20 years ago, and I take great pride in some comparisons to that from the old days. And like you said, the pictures on the wall, we have the Blue Angels here, we have politicians, we have sports stars. It's a little bit of everybody, but once you're in the door, you're just at Stan and Joe's. Come on in, enjoy some live local music, always free, never a cover, and very proud to be a part of the Annapolis scene.
Right across the street in that colonial blue building is Visit Annapolis and Arundel County. For lack of a better word, the Visitor Center, which is really actually a misnomer because there is plenty of information there for residents as well. But we turned around and talked to Kristin Pironis, who's the executive director, to get some of her thoughts and some of what they are up to. What does the boat show mean to Visit Annapolis and Anne Arundel County?
I think it's more than just the economy of it. I think that is important. I think this destination, in particular Annapolis, is known for festivals and events, and this is really one of our showcases. I think what's neat about that, and what's neat about travel in general right now, is people want experiences. And what is more exciting than walking across that crazy but safe dock to see all these different boats? You get on those boats and you can imagine yourself going anywhere in the world, but everybody wants to come here, and I think that that's what's really neat, just the experience of it. I think a lot of people think it just ends with that transaction with those weekends. But what happens is when the folks go to the boat shows, I mean, it's internationally known. Loads of people come here for boat shows. They get introduced to this town. They do that walking tour that you talked about. These different things. They experience what it is, and they come back. Anecdotally, they say that. They're like, okay, we're here for the boat show. We're going to run out and grab this bite to eat, but we're going to come back for a weekend. We're going to come back for another event. And that's what we see is those return visits. So that's really, if you're going to go back to the economics of it, that's return visit is even more important than that first. The boat shows have to compete against Navy football, and so there's a lot of demand for Annapolis hotels and the surrounding areas. What we did last year was a pilot program is we started a shuttle service from the BWI Arundel Mills region, had a couple of hotels that we worked with and shuttled people back and forth. So what we did is really connected that part of the county with Annapolis and Annapolis with that part of the county so people could stay in different places. We connected with Live, and they were terrific. So this year, for 2022, we're working with 7 different hotels that are putting packages together for exhibitors and visitors alike. Welcome or welcome back. We're thrilled that they're here. We're thrilled that they chose Annapolis and Arundel County, and we look forward to seeing them again.
Heading down Main Street, just after Francis Street on the left, is Shades on the Bay and Linda Mann. Linda and I pass each other daily. She on her scooter headed into work, and me usually out for a walk in the neighborhood. Now, Linda's been selling sunglasses on Main Street for a long time, and actually, she decided to buy a booth at the boat shows. Of course, she has some thoughts.
I've been selling sunglasses downtown Annapolis since 1996, and I have been involved in the boat show. I think this is going to be, as a vendor in the show, my 20th show. Something like that. So I've got the store to run and the booth to run in the show. We sell Maui Jim there and best sunglasses around. We partner up with them, and we have a 10 by 20 booth, and we sell probably 600 pair of glasses in between the 2 shows. And this year, we actually have something really special happening. If you're familiar with Below Deck Mediterranean, Captain Sandy is going to be in our booth for the Powerboat Show for all 4 days, from the 6th to the 9th. So she's coming in, and she's going to be signing books. Her book will be released on October 4th, so she's going to be doing a book signing and autographs for the entire show. We serve Maui Madness, and we raise money for a charity. It's called Just Empower Kids. It's Justin Burke's. And during the shows, we ask for a donation for a drink, and our goal is to raise $10,000 for him this year. The community keeps me in business. Yes, we have a lot of tourists in town, but it is the locals that keeps me here. And I truly believe that it's my responsibility to give back to the community. And they give to me, and I give back. And it fills my heart to be able to write that check out after the boat show and hand it to Justin and say, here, help the kids with cancer. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I'm going to get all filled up and cry now. You can find parking. There is a lot of ways to get into town, bike into town, scooter into town, bring the Annapolis Go, use the bus. There's ways to get around. Uber or Lyft. It's easy. Come on down during the boat show. Come on down all the time and enjoy the city. We have so much to offer.
Okay, I successfully resisted the urge to pop into Pip's Dock Street Dogs for a cheesesteak. Another pro tip, that is the best cheesesteak in town. And I pulled up a bench down at Susan Campbell Park with the city's #1 ambassador, Mayor Gavin Buckley. Now, we all know that the boat shows are a moneymaker for the city, and the boat show management absolutely loves to go in front of city council and present that big check every year. But Mayor Buckley is laser focused on water as the mayor, and certainly the boat shows play a big part in that.
Well, I can say it's definitely my favorite time of the year. Obviously, boating is close to my heart. That's how I came to this wonderful town. And I don't think it's the biggest part of our identity. I mean, when you think of Annapolis, you think of this city, this beautiful historic city, but it's the gateway to the Chesapeake Bay. It's a destination to come to on your boat. How many cities can say they have a canal that runs right through the middle of the city and gets you into the heart of the restaurants and bars in the city, and you can turn around and go out and or at a certain time of year you can come in and you can look at the newest thing happening in boating, in power and in sail, and it's all self-contained right here in this city. So I think it's one of the biggest identifiers for Annapolis. I love it, and I look forward to it every year. It makes the city so much more international, so I love that feel when it happens. But it fills up our hotels, fills up our shops, and it fills up our restaurants. And they really do count on that at that time of year. So, I'm from the restaurant business, so we would generally be taken over by French contingents. They seemed to like our restaurants back in the day when I was involved. And so we would have, the back rooms of Tsunami full, the rooftop of Metropolitan full, all those other places that we've had really sort of draw in boaters and sailors. And I think that's what they come to town for. They think about it every year when they're coming here. Oh, we're going to go to that restaurant again. We're going to go and support that business again. We like that hotel or that Airbnb. So, and it brings in a ton of money to the city and a ton of energy. I think what's so great about living in Annapolis is that you can go to a restaurant on the water, and so this new addition of Chop Tank's another brilliant destination to go to on your boat. And then getting, throughout the Chesapeake Bay to go to places where you can eat and drink and be with friends. We live in a special place. I don't think many cities in the country have what we have. Look, I've said it from day one, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. We have a lot of parking in the city of Annapolis. Just because we're replacing our main garage and expanding that by another 100 to 150 cars, it doesn't mean there's not parking, because at the top of Main Street, there are 3 garages that sit empty 7 nights a week and all weekend long. You can always get a park in those spaces in the first block of West Streets, which is at the top of Main Street. But if you don't do that, you come to the boat show and you get the shuttle from the stadium. The shuttle from the stadium is very efficient and gets you in and out of town, no problems. Or you could go to Park Place, where our shuttle, our big, call it the Barney bus now. I didn't really know that until we did it, but we're just trying to make people know there's a free way to get from the Arts District all the way to the waterfront, and it runs every 10 minutes. And so you're lucky it's easy to get around on those things. And then I think we're still working on the 10-minute trolley concept. We'll have that in place for Boat Show.
Finally, a quick trek over the Gulf of Eastport to talk to Jessica, a PTA mom for life and an Eastport resident for nearly a quarter century. She organizes the parking during the boat shows for the Eastport Elementary School, which is the largest and much-needed fundraiser for the school. Another pro tip, by the way, this is the place to park if they have room. It's just a quick 0.05K walk over the Eastport Bridge, and you're right there in the heart of the boat shows. As a longtime resident, Jess has some thoughts as well. So we did plop down in some all-too-comfy Adirondack chairs in her front yard and chatted for a bit.
I love the boat show. Yes, it has all of those cons, right? There is extra traffic. There are people driving around, going down all the one-way streets the wrong direction because they can't figure it out. But one of the reasons that we moved to Annapolis 24 years ago was because of things like the boat show, because of festivals, because of fairs, because Annapolis has this really cool thing about being a small town where people when you go to the grocery store, you see people walking down the street or just randomly anywhere you go. But it's also big enough to have arts and music and film premieres, songwriter music festivals, and things like the boat show. And Annapolis's entire history and culture is based on the water, going long back pre-colonial times. The boat show is a pretty unique and special thing. And I love it. My kids love it. We go down, we're not looking to buy boats. I mean, we're certainly dreaming about boats when we look at it. When we go to the show, it's again, not because we're looking to buy a new boat, but it's people watching. It's enjoying the food from, the various food vendors that are there and have been there. You can't leave the boat show without a Nutty Buddy and a pit beef from Fleet Reserve. But also, looking at all of the products. There are so many of the local businesses that are there downtown, that come in to support. Latin Long from Eastport is always there. Yacht Canvas. There's so many small businesses in Annapolis, and this is their chance to shine. So it's really fun to walk around and see those, and then just also see all the innovations and, take part of it. It's like having a fair. I mean, it is having a fair. It's just not a, country agricultural fair. It's the boat show fair. And obviously the boat show is a big part of Eastport, because we do have parking at Eastport, and that's a really important thing. Eastport is a Title I school, which means that we have, a high number of our students qualify for free and reduced meals. And because of that, fundraising in what some might consider to be a traditional manner is a lot harder than it is at maybe some other schools. It doesn't work the same way for us. And, there are people who love doing that, and that's awesome. But for us, we've been really lucky to have the shows there as a way that we can raise money from the larger community and not even Annapolis necessarily. But it's also a way to connect us and our students to what's going on around our community. It teaches our students about service. They see their parents and friends out there volunteering every day for almost every day for 2 weeks. They have to give up some of their playground time. Now that we have the nice fenced in back garden, they get to be outside, which is great. But, this is a big time. We've had times where some of the kids have sold lemonade and cookies to people, but they just really get to enjoy and experience the boat shows, which is great. You see it all around you. But I think a really important part of growing up in a community, particularly a small urban city like Annapolis and neighborhood like Eastport, is being connected to that neighborhood, whether it's participating in boat show fundraising or going to the Maritime Museum to learn about crabs and the bay, or going out on a sailboat at Eastport Yacht Club, or any of the number of other things the school does to incorporate our community. We do walk-arounds to various businesses and everything. So it's all part of it.
And a quick walk back up to Gott's Court Garage and on my way home. For me, boat shows are so much fun. When my kids were younger, we'd go down and we would dream. Now that they're flown and grown, I go down alone and dream. I'm going to get back into a boat in the next few years, I'm sure, and I know exactly where I'm going to go to make that decision. They have the boats, they have the gear, they have the financing, they have the education, everything you need all under one, I guess it's not really a roof, but all in one really well-defined area. Locally, we do call them the boat shows, but they do have a proper name, and the United States Powerboat Show is up first from October 6th through the 9th, and appropriately enough, the United States Sailboat Show follows the following week, which will open on October 13th and run through the 17th. I do recommend getting tickets in advance because nobody likes standing in line, and you can do that and check out all there is to do and see at the shows at AnnapolisBoatShows.com. As for me, I'm going to dream a little, and I'll see you on the docks.
This has been a bonus podcast from Eye on Annapolis. Please visit us at eyeonannapolis.net. Follow us on Facebook at All Annapolis and on Twitter at Eye on Annapolis. And if you haven't subscribed to the Daily News Brief podcast, go for it. And all of your local news will be delivered to your phone, tablet, or smart device by 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday.